All right, let's talk about the Mongols. Some historians have called the Mongols an unstoppable and bloody tide of horror, while others have called them clever agents of change. However they've been described over the centuries, it's undeniable that the Mongols have had a profound effect on the peoples of Eurasia. So, from the 13th to the 15th century, Mongol rule stretched from East Asia to Eastern Europe, and the Mongols were and remain still today pastoralists. They were nomadic people from Mongolia who herd sheep, yaks, goats, cattle, and more importantly, horses. They're famous for their horseman skills. In the early 13th century, they were led by Chinggis or Genghis Khan. The Mongols swept into China and eventually reached and ended the Song dynasty. The Mongols were a clan-based society, and they were organized around bloodlines, and Genghis Khan successfully united these various Mongol tribes, and their greatest strength was their mobility. In times of war, they had total male mobilization. Every male from the ages 15 to 70 had to serve, and each of these males was rewarded with captured goods. The military strategy was extremely effective. What they would do, they would go in and attack, and then they would seem to retreat only to quickly turn around and resume the attack, and they were masters at psychological warfare. A famous saying of Genghis Khan's was, "Submit and live, resist and die." Why did they start attacking? We don't really know. A sharp decline in the mean annual temperature may have caused less and shorter grass to grow, and this might have forced the Mongols to trade or raid the settled societies. Once his troops were united, Genghis Khan had led them into Central Asia, Tibet, North China, and Persia. In 1215, the Mongols attacked and destroyed present-day Beijing, and the Mongol charge continued into Afghanistan and Persia, but in 1227, the great Khan died, and his empire was divided amongst his 4 sons. Some things about the Mongols and Genghis Khan: they allowed foreigners, especially Arab Muslims, to administer the government. They ended the Confucian examination system. When Genghis Khan took his troops into Persia, he set the stage for future assaults by his descendants. So let's talk about Kublai Khan. In 1279, Genghis Khan's grandson Kublai Khan defeated the southern Song dynasty, and for the first time, China was under foreign rule. Khan created a Chinese-style dynasty, and he took the name Yuan. They had a fixed and regular tax payment system and a strong central government. Foreigners, not Chinese, were employed in the bureaucracy, and the civil service exam was not used. The Chinese were subject to different laws and were consciously separated from the Mongols. There was a communication system that connected Beijing to Vienna using horse relays and over 1,400 postal stations. And in time, overland and maritime trade flourished. But the Mongols were not directly involved in trade. They welcomed foreigners and merchants, however. They converted their foreign currency to paper money when they crossed into China. Hulagu Khan was a grandson of Genghis Khan, and he defeated the Abbasids in 1258. The Mongols in the Middle East employed local bureaucrats in the government and converted to Islam by 1295. His empire was called the Ilkhanate. Local rulers were permitted to rule within the Ilkhanate as long as they delivered the tax revenue and maintained order. Though they did not support agriculture, they did facilitate trade, and Mongol culture often mixed with that of the conquered peoples. And I'm sorry, I lost my spot. As Mongols continued west, they met with their first and only major defeat. The armies of the Mamluks, which was the slave dynasty in Egypt, defeated the Mongols in 1260 and stopped the movement of Mongols in that region. Now, Batu was a Mongol ruler in Russia. His rule was called the Golden Horde, and he conquered and ruled Russia but kept a large number of local rulers intact. The taxes on the peasants were heavy, but they were collected by Russian bureaucrats. Trade was supported. And although these Mongols were Muslim and conversion was encouraged, missionaries were still allowed to visit.